Good evening, folks. We're out on the trail. Oh, she's all the way down there. She's heading out because she's been attacked by flies. So I'm kind of keeping my distance because the flies will be on me, but they're all over here. So she's like, I'm out of here. So anyway, I'm going to tell you a little weird story. I'm in Wharton State Forest right now. It's not dark yet. The sun's going down. The sun is setting beautifully over there, as you can see. Just lift my phone up higher. There we go. So I haven't walked at night in a while because of an incident I had like last year, pretty much close to a year ago. And it's actually the reason if I do hike at night, Willow's like miles down there. Oh, there's a beautiful sunset. Look at that. Gorgeous. So anyway, getting back to the story, I was hiking with Willow, and we were in the middle of Penn Forest, which is kind of part of the contiguous Pine Barrens and joins it with Wharton and Brendan T. Byrne and so forth, and Double Trouble, all state forests that make up the Pine Barrens. And anyway, I'm hiking with the dog one night, around about 11ish, 11:30, and we were in this area that had just been recently burnt from a forest fire. And usually, like a forest fire, you'd have a demarcation zone, like a fire channel or a fire cut or a fire break, and they usually use the sand roads for those, or they'll dig an actual fire break through the forest with a big plough type of device on an excavator. And so anyway, I'm walking through the forest with the dog, middle of nowhere, nobody around. I mean, we've hiked, 3 miles in and we're coming 3 miles back. And anyway, it's kind of a road like this. On one side of the road it's green, and then the other side of the road is burnt because of the forest fire zone. And anyway, so I'm walking with the dog, and she finds, you've got my headlight on, and we're going down the road. We're on the way back, in fact, and she finds this old burnt tennis ball which had been kind of singed in the forest fire. So it was kind of fun. I'm kicking the ball down the road, and she's running after it and acting like a little puppy, and she's 13 years old. Here she comes. Hey, puppy. Willow. Come on. Yeah, we're going. Yeah, I'm coming. Keep going then. Good girl. So anyway, so she's acting like a puppy, and we're in the middle of nowhere on this trail, and I start laughing because she's acting like a puppy at 13 years old. And immediately, as I finish laughing, right from my left-hand side in the forest that is not burnt, it's the unburnt section of the forest, there comes this laughter, which is a direct copy of what I laughed. And it was the same tone, the same pitch, the same duration, and it sounded just like me. Now, it was that convincing, the dog actually dropped the tennis ball, looked into the forest and kind of cocked her head, and then looked at me as if to say, how did you do that? Well, I tell you, the hairs on the back of my head stood up. I got a chill down my spine, and I had my headlight on because it was dark. So I immediately kind of head into the verge, and I'm kind of looking around in the forest, kind of having a look in. Not this forest, but you can kind of get the idea. I don't want to go too far because it's chigger season right now. So I'm kind of looking around in the forest from where that laughter came from, and I don't see anything or anybody. And my initial thought was some kids in there are messing around, but I was too far down that trail for anybody to be out there, and I hadn't come across any of the vehicles. And it was quiet that night, and we were by ourselves. So this laughter emulated exactly what I did with the dog, to a point where the dog even was like, what the heck is that? How are you in there? So anyway, so I couldn't see anything in the forest. I'm looking around, I couldn't see anything. And at that point I thought, yeah, let's just get the hell out of here. So we double timed it down the trail all the way back to where I'd parked. So we probably had to go another 1.75 miles. So we got down that trail fairly rapidly. But it's the reason now if I'm hiking at night, so after dark, I actually carry a FLIR with me, and I actually bought it's a real nice little unit. It's a Pulsar XG35 Axion, and it's so small and compact you can fit it in your top pocket, and the battery life on it's very good, so you can just kind of keep it on in your pocket. And if you ever end up having somebody or something laugh at you from the woods copying what you're doing, hopefully the FLIR is going to give you a better advantage of to see what it is. Perhaps you don't want to see what it is. I mean, I don't know what it was. You know, Warton State Forest and Penn, the Pine Barrens in general, are very, very heavily haunted. Probably the most haunted forest in the US. So I don't know whether what responded was paranormal activity or Bigfoot related activity. We do know that Bigfoot can emulate people laughing and crying and talking. I don't know whether it was the Jersey Devil. I mean, somebody could point that out to me too. Although the Jersey Devil hasn't been seen in a very long time, and I don't think he actually emulated anybody laughing. So I'm more inclined to be either A, Bigfoot Squatch related, or B, paranormal. But that was a really loud laugh and a direct copy, I believe, for that to be paranormal. I do believe it was another creature of some sort, even if it wasn't human, to have actually copied me. And I think it needed a set of lungs and a set of vocal cords that could make that copy accurate. And that is why I only walk at night with a FLIR. And I can, hunt the trees for creatures with that FLIR device and go much further in than a flashlight could see. I still wear a flashlight, a headlight, just to make sure that I can see where I'm actually stepping, because you can't really, with a 2.5 times power FLIR, you can't really walk down the trail and not trip over yourself. You'll trip over these tree roots and things and all these other bushes you get in the woods. So yeah, that's my kind of experience with laughter and not knowing what it is. Oh, here's Sandy. I've still got to put the wings on her from new struts, and I've got the rear upper control arms done. I had to buy 2 new tyres to get this working, and it's funny because these Cooper Discoverers now, you can no longer get these old ones, these old AT3s with that pattern. Cooper stopped making them, and now it's this pattern called, I think, Road and Trail. It's a slightly different pattern. So I actually quite liked those old Cooper tyres. Come on, pup. In you come. Good girl. Let's just chuck this in here. Oh, she's happy now. Come here, Papa. Come here. Good girl. Oh, that's right. Keep the flies off you. So that is my little story about laughter in the woods, and why I do not hike at night now without a FLIR device, just in case something like that occurs again. Hopefully I can see what's making it. Maybe I don't want to, like I said, maybe I don't want to know what's making it. But I definitely felt a real shiver down my spine the night I heard that. And that's the only time ever in my life of living in these pine barrens. So I've walked these pine barrens for almost 20 years. And we've done hundreds of miles in these pine barrens. And that is the first and only time I've ever heard laughter like that in the forest, that was directly aimed at me and the dog. And yeah, let's just say I got out of there rapidly. I wasn't hanging around. That was very, very creepy. And it was so loud that the dog even dropped the ball and kind of looked into the forest, kind of cocking her head to left and right to try and figure out how I actually got into the forest while I was standing there. It confused the dog. So yeah, that's a new one on me, and that's one of the reasons I use a FLIR. And then the other thing is, what was interesting is, second part to this, I discovered then later I was only about a mile away from where Danielle Lopez disappeared in the Pine Barrens in Penn Forest, ironically on Lost Lane Road. and she vanished without a trace there. Was last seen, a car got disabled in a puddle, and I guess she was last seen on the sand road heading to Oswego campground, and she was never seen again. The state police issued a $25,000 reward for information leading to the finding of her, and nobody's ever claimed it. And they tried calling her cell phone and geo-locating her cell phone, which was on her. Nothing. It's never been activated ever since. And none of her credit cards, none of her wallet, none of it's ever been used or the money spent. So she vanished along with all of her personal possessions that were critical to, you know, living a life. She couldn't have just moved away somewhere and started a new life up, because everything else they would have been able to find the electronic trace of that. So she has never been found. And Lost Lane Road was where they found her vehicle abandoned. So somewhere down there, she disappeared forever. That was in 2024. And she's never been found. And I realised then later I was literally in the forest about a mile away from where she had her disappearance. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know whether the two are connected, but it's kind of ironic that it is. And knowing how bizarre Penn Forest is, and this is Wharton State Forest, I wouldn't put it past anything that lives in here. All right, folks, that's my little story. Over and out for now.